Okay, Frank Warren, it's that time
Dev
again.
Sahni.
How are we?
I'm right, young man. How are you?
I'm good. Listen, it's a Tyson Fury press conference time. It's, I guess, the biggest fight of his career coming up against Usyk. Everything's on the line. He's got to go and sort this out. What are your thoughts heading into this?
He's got to do exactly that. You know, it's the rematch. He's asked for it, and he believes he's got the wherewithal to win the fight and get the 3 belts. And we'll find out on the 21st of December in Riyadh.
His mentality, from speaking to him earlier, I was expecting it like maybe a bit of soul searching. Oh, I've got to do this. Went back to the drawing board. All of that stuff. Nothing like that. He's saying this is just another boxing match, and I think I won the first one.
Well, I thought he just won the first one. It was a close fight. It was a split decision on the judges' scorecards, and he's very philosophical. He knows what he's got to do. The thing about it is, can he do it? Usyk knows what he's got to do. They've shared a ring, done 12 rounds together in a really tough, uncompromising fight of 2 halves. And you know, they both feel, well, they both would have learnt from that experience. It's whether now their game plan can, you know, without doing each other, who's going to come through it. And I genuinely do believe Tyson will do that. I think he knows what he has to do. I think the first half of the fight, it was a fight of 2 halves, and I think the first half of the fight showed the way you beat Usyk.
Mm-hmm. Well, look, he was boxing him at range. This is what he's talked about with me. It's when he was boxing, he was picking him apart. He was finding it easy, and he got complacent. It's all the showboating to the crowd and whatnot.
Well, the showboating was all right, and I think it was the 7th round where he caught Usyk with that really good uppercut, and everybody where I was sitting, a lot of people felt the next round he was going to stop him, but Usyk came out to his credit, and he caught Tyson. He hit him on the nose, on the tip of the nose, and Tyson seemed to lose his composure. He said it hurt him, and he kept touching his nose and his eye and nose, and he just seemed to, you know, he lost that round, and then certainly the next round he was in trouble. But he gritted his teeth and came through it, and wound up winning the last round on my scorecard. Yeah,
considering from where he was, this is exactly the same as Wilder. When he went through Hill in that final round against Wilder, he still won that round.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know, how long can he do that for? This going to the
well,
world.
that's what you're going to find out. Because those fights take something out of you. You leave something behind in the ring. All fighters, it don't matter who you are, in your tough fights, you'll leave something behind. And that will be answered again on the 21st to see who. I went to the dressing room after the fight, obviously with Tyson, and he was quite annoyed that he didn't get the decision. He was, but he was quite, you know, lively, if you know what I mean. Like his mind was on, and going into Usyk, who won the fight, you'd have thought he was the loser going into his dressing room. Although he won it, he knew he'd been in a very, very tough fight.
Tyson now goes into a fight for the first time with a L on his record. He thinks he won. Yeah. You think he won. Many people do think he won, but you know, it's there. He hasn't lost on his record.
A lot of people think Usyk.
Yeah. How do you think that affects Tyson, if at all, like going forward?
It's irrelevant. All that matters is the night. Keep looking over your shoulder. If you keep doing that, someone's going to clip you on the chin. You've got to keep looking forward, and that's what he'll do.
You've had quite the ride with Tyson Fury. There's been more highs than lows, I would say, but every time when there's a camera on you ringside, you're living and breathing every single moment. And that last fight must have been an emotional roller coaster, Frank.
It was, and as I mentioned earlier, that 7th round for me was a turning point in the fight. It just, you know, I thought I couldn't make it. I didn't know what happened. You know, the way he was obviously it wasn't himself, and it seemed to, you know, really. That was a turning point for Usyk in the fight. Whereas the round before, I thought Tyson was going to stop him.
What's been your greatest night with Tyson so far? That moment where you think of him and it's there. It's this thing that you did together. It's this.
Look, there's been a lot, and it's very difficult because the first fight he had with First fight he had with Deontay, he was a big underdog going into that fight, and I really did fancy him to win the fight, and he did win it. It was a bad decision. He won that fight, and that was an amazing night, especially that last round, because I did not think he was going to get up. I don't know how he did that, but he did it. And he had the wherewithal to not only get up, to come back and be on top at the end of that round. Second fight with Wilder, I really did feel he was going to stop him, and that's exactly what he did. I mean, he'd done a complete job on him. The third fight with Wilder is probably the best live heavyweight fight I've ever attended. The drama in it, the ups and downs and whatever. I mean, you was on the edge of your seat with it. It was just an amazing night. That was an amazing night. The Usyk fight, an amazing fight. The two best heavyweights in the world, both undefeated. Everything on the line. First four-belt unification fight. First time this century. Don't get no better than that, does it? That's what it's all about. And then we've got this one coming up, which I think is going to top it.
Do you think it'll be? That will take some topping, because that was a thriller.
If you look at Usyk, he tried to put it on. Well, he did. He came out and put it on Tyson. He's not going to be on his back foot. He don't want to be on his back foot. He needs to be on his front foot, and Tyson needs to put him on his back foot. So those styles will make a good fight.
I'm looking forward to it. It is the fight. Tell me a little bit about some of the fights on the undercard. Moses Itauma has got his step up against Dempsey McCann, a name that he has been calling out. It's been delivered. He's got to show what he can do, right?
Yeah, look, he's still a teenager.
Unbelievable.
And he's in with a guy who's only got one loss, and that loss was against Hrgovic, who was undefeated at the time, had a tremendous amateur record. Hrgovic was the mandatory challenger for the WB.
I think it's the IBF.
That's the IBF title for a long time, and an avoided fighter. He went to the 12th round with him. You see Hrgovic in with Daniel Dubois. You know how dangerous he is. You see those right hands that Daniel was shipping, and he went 12 rounds. Mm-hmm. And that fight was I think that was a final eliminator for the world title. So that's the level he's fought at.
It's quite a jump.
It's a big jump. It's a big jump, and and there's fights like this when they're a teenager. It's like a man and a boy. That you think to beat him, he's got an old man him. He's got to he's going to go in there and all the tricks of the trade on this young kid. But Moses is for me has been quite a mature and composed boxer. Certainly his last performance was a brilliant boxing performance, working off a jab against a guy. I thought he would win, but a lot of people thought he was going to take him 8 or 9 rounds, but he absolutely took him apart. So we'll see what happens in this fight. And, he's not been taken into those late rounds yet, championship rounds.
It's never been more than 6.
So we'll see what happens, if it goes that long.
Well, it'll be some statement if he gets him out of there sharpish.
It will.
Dennis McCann, Peter McGrail, brilliant super bantamweight fight. It's
a great fight. Great, it's a domestic fight, as we know, but it's a great fight. Two guys who, the 3 belts are on the line, British, Commonwealth and European, and it's just a really, really good fight. And there's a little bit of spice in it that it's Queensbury versus Matchroom. Yeah,
after what Sky Nicholson did, they started just clawing back the score a bit, so over to Dennis to...
Well, Dennis, don't let us down, son, or there'll be trouble.
Please, Dennis, keep them at bay, please. So overall, listen, it's an incredible show. I just want to get your thoughts on... or your update, basically, on Daniel Dubois. He's back now from his holiday. The world is dying to see him, dying to see who he's going to punch in the face next and how he's going to do it. What can you tell us?
I met with him, his dad and his team yesterday, and we'll be making an announcement, I hope, next week. He'll be defending his title in February.
Were you expecting Anthony Joshua to want the immediate rematch? Would you, if you were in his camp?
They said they wanted it. But me personally, I don't think it's going to happen.
Would you steer him away from a rematch if you were representing him?
Have that all day long.
If you were Anthony Joshua, if you were in that camp, would you say, go and fight Dubois again?
He's never going to beat Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois has got his number.
What are you expecting from Tyson in the build-up today and in the weeks leading up to this fight with Usyk?
I don't know. They've had all their, the sort of Tyson's said what he's had to say in the past, but he's sort of, you know, and some of it's tongue in cheek. He said what he said. There's a respect there for them too. When you go through a fight like that, you know, and it was a glorious fight, when you go through that, there's respect there. Whatever way, you know, some people may say there's not, but I'm telling you, there's mutual respect there.
And there's plenty of respect here. Thank you very much, Frank Warren.
Cheers, Neil, son.